So a couple years ago I bought this faux leather jacket at Express and I thought it was a good idea at the time because it was only $30, but as you can see in this clip, the sleeves are too long for me. It has these weird thumb things and the fit is just kind of odd. So I decided to subject it to this experiment of cutting it into a vest, and it actually turned out pretty well. So the most important thing to keep in mind is to make sure you don't cut into the seams of the actual sleeves, because otherwise it's going to fall apart. So what I'm going to do first is just cut off most of the sleeve in a big chunk, and I wasn't trying to make this neat or anything because you're just trying to get the sleeve out of the way so you can focus on the seam. So what I'm going to do is take the little part that connects the lining of the jacket to the sleeve, and then there's a little flap thing, so I just cut that, and then now the lining is completely free. So as you can see, I'm just left with a little bit of the sleeve left on the seam. So what I'm going to do is cut a line to the edge of the seam, make sure not to cut into it, and then that makes it a lot easier for me to cut the rest of the sleeve off. So as you can see, what I'm just trying to do is cut the excess and then make sure it sticks close to the seam so it looks close, but make sure I don't cut it again, otherwise it'll fall apart. So it's really easy to do once you cut off most of the sleeve because you're just left with a little bit to take care of. So I'm just going to cut all the way around the sleeve, and then I'll just be left with the vest. So now what I'm going to do is take that lining and flip it to the inside, and what you want to do is get rid of the lining so that it doesn't show when you're wearing the vest. And then I just kind of messily chopped it off. I wasn't really paying attention to what I was doing because the lining doesn't really matter because nobody's going to see it anyway. So I'm just kind of attacking it. So then that is one sleeve done, and then I'm going to move on to the other sleeve and then follow the same process, cut off a really big chunk of the sleeve but leave a little bit close to the seam. And then I did the same thing, I cut a line to the seam of the sleeve but I didn't cut into it. And then I'm going to do the same thing and cut around the sleeve. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the lining. I'm going to find where it attaches to the sleeve and then cut off the little bit there to detach the lining. And then I'm going to cut the little flap off. So then I'm going to detach the lining from the other side of the sleeve. And then I'm going to take the lining and pull it to the inside of the jacket, and then grab a fistful of that and then just kind of viciously chop it off. Again, you don't need to make it neat or anything because nobody is going to see it when you're wearing the jacket or a vest. And then what I'm going to do is lay the vest on the ground and then clean up any extra bits of cloth to make it look as if it was originally a vest. So this is how it turned out. I'm pretty happy with it. I know I'm going to wear a lot more as a vest. If you're on the hunt for a nice leather vest, what I recommend you do is go out and find a cheap faux leather jacket and then cut the sleeves off yourself. So I hope you enjoyed this really fast tutorial, and if you try it out for yourself, send me a photo. I'd love to see what you make, and thanks for watching, and I will see you in my next video.